There's not a person on my team in 16 years that has consistently beat me to the ball every play. That ain't got nothing to do with talent. That's just got everything to do with effort. Nothing else. 15 straight years. 12 Pro Bowls later, if you want numbers. I done saw all of it. And the only thing that's kept me around is my effort. So when you put on this, all I ever knew, because I wasn't the #1 recruit, I wasn't the #1 linebacker, I wasn't even in the media guy. All I ever knew was effort will get me seen on tape. Effort will get me noticed to get to the league. Effort would one day take care of my mom and my kids. Effort. Which is between you and you. Nobody else can give you effort. Effort is with inside, man. And I'm still grinding because the next kid is talking about he getting too old. Keep watching me if I ain't. Nobody ain't got to convince me of what I do. I do what I do because I do what I do, because I'm built from something. And man didn't create it. Every one of you men in here have that opportunity, man. But ask yourself the question personally, how much time you really wasted? For real. Or do you really represent this? I represent it because it's all I had. It's the only brotherhood I ever been formed to. That's why when I see y'all perform on Saturdays, that is my peace. That's why I run to the hotels. I don't need to talk to nobody before my games. I just need to see what I once came from. I sat in these same chairs you guys sat in, man. I sat around the greatest athletes in the world. And then I found myself totally different because everybody was asking the question, who is this kid? Oh, pissed off again. Another thing added to the chalkboard. I'm not asking nobody in here for nothing today. I'm not. I'm just sharing my story to tell y'all, every time you think somebody got it good, man, it ain't always good. Some people just make up their mind and they just grind and say the heck with it, man. Because sometimes that's all you can do. How much of our brains are we really going to use? I use mine to tell somebody today, September 11th, when I step on the field against the Pittsburgh Steelers, if that's what God will is, there's no other man out there willing to give up what I'm willing to give up. I said that in 1993, when I said I wanted to be the greatest Hurricane, and the only thing that I got in the middle of all of that distance is the only thing that follows work is results. There's no other blueprint. I ain't got no other secrets to tell y'all today. I ain't come here for nothing else but to tell you, if you want to do something, work at it. You want a better relationship with God, work at it. You want to understand why pulling your pants up is important, why yes ma'am and no ma'am is important, why being in the meeting with complete silence when somebody walks in, because it's presence and essence that determines respect. That's all we talking about. The power of respect is never to disrespect. That's why I was the first one sitting down in the meeting. I ain't got nothing to say. Y'all do y'all, I'm good. I got to listen. Something out there I need to grab from it. Sitting on the same football field as you, 1993. And I made a quote that some people call controversy, I call it confidence. I said that I might be the greatest player to ever walk up out of the University of Miami. I did not say that because I thought I was better than everybody else. I said that simply because I was willing to put in the work to now be back here 18 years later and tell you the only brotherhood I still have sits on my chest in a shirt on where the eye of that real hurricane is found in my heart. This is where it all came from. Same path y'all walk, same cabs y'all going, same green tree y'all walking up and down. I had one pair of jeans in college for at least 2 years. At least 2 years. The question is, what are you going to do with your time? What drives you? Like, for real. I ain't got much more to say. Because I feel home. And when you're home, ain't much to say. Our work spoke for itself. That's where our swagger came from. Our swagger came from, we worked as a unit. I came through the University of Miami with one mind, one set, one heartbeat. It was impossible to get to us. Because if you saw us somewhere, you saw 15 or 20 of us. Gotta stop leaving each other. Gotta stop hanging out without each other. The streets ain't chasing the same things you chase. There's many temptations out there. Just stay focused, man. As a team, though. As a team. That's all I knew when I was here. That's what kind of kept me focused. That I finally ran into a team. You guys have that same thing. Because it's you will never die. It'll never die. So it's up to you to carry that. It's up to you to carry that. Every Sunday, every Saturday, everything is talked about. I mean, listen, we're going to respect a lot of colleges, but there's one college that everybody wants to talk about every Saturday. What do UM do? What do UM do? That's all everybody want to talk about. We can be having the biggest game in the world. UM won yesterday. Know what you carry. When you carry this U on your chest. Know what you carry, man. You carry a legacy. A legacy of greatness. And greatness is a lot of small things done well. Day after day, workout after workout, obedience after obedience, day after day. 18 years later, I'm here to say, hurricanes, we're the only thing people respect the most. Because there's something about us that makes us special.
I'm ready to start the program right now. For those of you unfamiliar with me, I'm the president. Unfortunately, my name is not Barack Obama. And I don't have any security guys to my right and to my left. So that's one big difference between me and Barack. But as the president, I would like to invite everybody here for the 2009 banquet. We will be recognizing and honoring the outstanding football players and coaches at Columbia High School tonight. But first, I would like to thank This Is It for giving us this beautiful facility to have our banquet in. We have some very special guests with us tonight. If you look at your program, we will be participating in our program here tonight. And I would like to give a abbreviated introduction of our special guests that are with us tonight. And you might have saw one of them on the YouTube there as we were looking at the screen. Mr. Corey Donaldson is immediately to my right. He's going to be our master of ceremony tonight. Mr. Donaldson is an up-and-coming radio sports talk show host, and he has his own program. He's going to be broadcasting live from This Is It on Saturdays and also on Monday nights. This is Mr. Donaldson right here to my immediate right. And also we have with us tonight Mr. Samuel Evans. Mr. Evans is sitting next to the young man with the, on the end down there. Mr. Samuel Evans is an international businessman. He's going to be our special guest speaker tonight. And we're glad to have him with us tonight also. Mr. Ken Hudson is on the far right over there. You might have saw him on the YouTube on the screen earlier tonight. Mr. Hudson is the first black NBA basketball referee. He's retired now, and he's given a lot of speeches, different places. And he's an author also, so he has a book that he's got out there. You might want to go to the bookstore and get you a copy of that. He's going to be one of our mentor commentators tonight. And Mr. Stevie Baggs is the young man on the far right with the longer hair. Mr. Baggs is a professional football player with the Canadian Football League, and he also is a member of the 100% Wrong Club. That's an organization that honors top black college football players and coaches annually. And Mr. Baggs, I just heard, is he also just won an award this weekend as one of the top black All-American football players up north somewhere. Yeah. We'll hear a little bit about that later on. So while we got the facility, what we'll do is we'll have our invocation following, and after our invocation, we'll go into our dinner. We'll have our dinner, but the dinner is $12 per person. We got the facility free. It was a donation from This Is It. However, we have to pay $2 per person who eats for the gratuity for the person, the people that are using helping us out. So if you'll pay Mrs. Obodi $2 if you want to eat, and she'll give that to the service that will be helping us out here tonight. And you'll pay the $10 in the line when you get out there and go through the line. Go through the line, get your food, and bring it back in here. You can sit down at the table and we'll eat it here. And I guess it'll take about 20 minutes before we can almost finish our dinner, and then we'll start the program back up. So with that, we'll go directly to our invocation, and that'll be given by Mr. Corey Johnson.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Let me please bow our heads at this time. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for bringing us all here this evening on this wonderful occasion of celebrating the athletic prowess of these young men at Columbia High School. Thank you, Lord, for the parents, the coaches, principals, and all of those who have come out to represent and share their love and respect and time for these young men. We do ask, Lord, that you please bless the food that we're about to receive, and may it be a nourishment to our bodies. In Christ Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Everybody's attention for a second. I want to say welcome to everybody. Welcome, I guess everybody in the room knows I'm Coach Latham. I've been with you guys for a long time. Good to see everybody in one place again. When the season ends, it's crazy. Everybody put the equipment in, and everybody kind of goes off among their merry way. But it's good to see everybody here. It's a great occasion. I was just talking to the principal. I remember my very first banquet 11 years ago. We did it in the basement of the church, and we got some Mrs. Winters, and we had a great time. Every banquet, 10 banquets later, here I am, and every one is special because every group of athletes is special. So it's great to be here. Starting to proceed tonight, so I'm here to introduce our master of ceremony, Mr. Corey Donaldson Sr. Is the president, CEO of CNC Sports Recruiting, a native of Atlanta, Georgia, who attended Frederick Douglass High School, was a student athlete at Morris Brown College and Clark Atlanta University. While in college, he not only excelled in athletics, but was a part of the student government for 4 years. In 2005 and 2006, Donaldson was the office coordinator for the NIFL Rome Renegades. For the last 4 years, he has been the host of Making Your Point sports talk show on FIA Broadcasting Network. Corey is married to Dr. Erica Donaldson, and they have 2 children, Amber and Corey Jr. I present to you Mr. Corey Donaldson.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. As I say to all my speaking engagements, I say to you guys, I promised my wife I would not be too long. It is a great occasion that we are here for, and I do thank Columbia High School and staff for allowing me to be the master of ceremonies for this occasion. Just a little bit about me, and I'll let it go from there. CNC Sports was a company I started to help student athletes, males and females, for higher education. Over a 9-year period, we helped over 140 plus just in the Atlanta area and a few in different states as well. The Making Your Point show came out of that. We've been in radio and broadcasting for 4 years, doing radio and broadcasting for different HBCUs in the states, primarily in the Southeast. And we're focusing our channel now with the different high schools in the Atlanta area as well, so you'll definitely be hearing more from us. But at this time, I would like to get on through the programs. I know you guys have to go to work tomorrow. I'm going to introduce our special guest speaker, which is my pleasure to introduce to you Samuel C. Evans, who is Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Evans Carter International Incorporated, with primary operations based in Nanjing, China. Evans was the first black commander of the U.S. Special Forces, better known as the Green Berets. He served 2 tours in Vietnam and received several decorations. He served as the nation's youngest regional chief of the U.S. Department of Treasury. President George H.W. Bush appointed Evans to serve on the National Advisory Council in Washington, D.C. Evans holds both national and international awards for his, for his work in AIDS prevention and for his work in public service. He lives in Atlanta and is married with 2 children. Without further ado, I introduce to you Mr. Samuel C. Evans.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
I want to thank Mr. Grant Anthony for this very, very special privilege. I am humbled to be invited here to talk to you. My fellow platform guests, distinguished guests, have made me very welcome. We've had some wonderful conversations. I've made some new friends, and we're looking forward to a future. A little background. I'm not going to give you a speech. I haven't made a speech in a long time. If I don't smile, it's because I'm having some dental work done and my front tooth's out, so I have to smile with my lips closed. I'm so strained. I just want to talk to you for a few minutes. My company is located in Nanjing, China. We only maintain a corporate headquarters here, a corporate presence here. We don't do any business at all in the United States except to raise money. And what I want to talk to you about in my own experiences, I hope will help you shape your experience. And everything that I tell you this evening briefly will be not for what I've done, because things I've done I couldn't even do again. Circumstances change on you. I could never right now go back to China and build what I've done. I want to tell you, before you start admiring me, understand that I can't do anything. I'm not a manager. I'm not smart. I'm not highly educated. I have a good basic education, a good basic understanding, a good average intelligence. What I do have is a very strong prayer life. What I've learned in life is that you can pray your way through almost anything. Now, this has nothing to do with religion. I'm not deeply religious. I'm deeply spiritual. That's not the same thing as being religious. I noticed that a lot of people go to church and not necessarily the best people to even deal with. Well, that's not a criterion. I ask God to help me do something with my life. I've been in the Special Forces. I've been in Atlanta Richfield Oil Company as executive. I've been in the U.S. Treasury Department as executive. I have moved along. Sometimes without a sense of purpose. What was I going to do with my life? What was I going to accomplish? And what I've learned over this long period of time is that ask for what you want and then let God and life take you to it. All entrepreneurs, because you've got to make your way in life. You've got to make a life for yourself. Your parents, your coaches, your principal, your teachers. They've taken you, they can only take you so far. The rest of the distance is up to you. Now, as I stand here before you, in my custom-made suit, my custom-made shoes, my expensive tie, gold cufflinks, I might look like to you the picture of success. But keep in mind that success as a picture is only an image. You can't tell whether I'm successful or not until you know what's inside of me. Until you know how I feel about myself. So I advise you, don't look at the trappings. Look at the interpersonal. I don't stand around saying how much I admire so-and-so. I see them on television, and sometimes I pity them. Because people will make you into what you're not. The hardest thing I've ever learned to be is to be myself. And it took a long time to do that. So I urge you at an early age to learn to be yourself. And the way to do that is develop an internal prayer mechanism. Now by prayer, I don't mean that you have to be deeply devout and going around with your head hung. But say to yourself inside what I say to myself. I have my own prayer. And my prayer is simply that, dear God, protect me from any evil that would cause me pain and make me very happy. I say that all day, every day. When I say that we're located in China, I ask God, not really directly, very indirectly. I saw where Richard Nixon, former President Nixon, had opened up China to do business. And I said inside myself, well, I sure would like to do business with the Chinese. And I didn't think any more about it. And circumstances started to move. Now here's something I want you to take away from you. If you take nothing else away tonight, I want you to learn this. And believe me, when I tell you, I know this, but I'm telling you, is an absolute fact. I personally guarantee it. If I'm still living when you're my age, at 69, then you can come and tell me. Evans, you sure were right. Or you can tell my spirit if I'm not here. Whatever you ask for, you're going to get it. Make sure it's what you want. You're going to get it. Whatever you ask for is going to come to you. Now luck. People say, boy, he sure has good luck. Luck is preparation meeting opportunity. You're all going to get opportunities, but you're not all going to be prepared for them unless you start preparing now. Don't worry so much about what you're going to major in. Think about how successful you're going to be in whatever you do. Learn to do little things well. I'll tell you a quick story of how I became one of the top cadets at ROTC summer camp in Annville, Pennsylvania in 1963. On the first day I arrived there, this big sergeant, Sergeant Pagikowski, I was one, and there were two black cadets in an entire barrack full of white cadets. And Sergeant Pagikowski said, "Say, you, what's your name?" I said, "Evans, Sergeant." He said, "Evans, get outside and clean up that coal bin." Now, I had two choices. I could go out and clean up the coal bin, or I could stick my lip out and say he's picking on me because I'm black. Because at that time we used to say color. I tell you right now, drop racism and don't ever again mention it, and don't spend any wasting time thinking about it. It's not racism that's going to hold you back. It's what's between your ears. It's your attitude. It's your belief system. That's what holds you back. You can't do anything about how other people feel, but you can do something about how you feel. At any rate, I went outside and I saw this coal bin had been swept out. This is one of the old cantonment type military installations where they burn coal in the stoves during the winter. I went out there and I looked at it. I got a broom. I swept it. Didn't do any good. That coal dust has been there since World War II. I then got some water. I said, well, I'm going to wash it out. And all the water did was make it into mud. It looked worse than it did before. And I'm standing there thinking, I'm just not going to let this defeat me. He's not going to come out here and say, aha, I didn't think you could do it. Now, I didn't think those thoughts at that time, but I just wasn't going to let it defeat me. I looked over the buildings. The buildings were all built about 3 feet off the ground on stumps. And I saw a bucket. What do you think that bucket? I went over there. It was whitewash that they used to whitewash the buildings. And a brush. I whitewashed that coal bin from one end to the other. Went in, Sergeant Pat Kelsey, coal bin ready for inspection. And he looked at me and said, I know this ain't working. Darn. I could see the look on his face. Big Polish fellow. Sorry. When he came outside, a grin split his face from one end to the other. He called the entire platoon out and said, this is how you do a job. Now, what did that do for me? For the rest of the summer, whenever they wanted somebody to take command, somebody to be in charge, where's Evans? Because I'd made an impression by doing a little thing well. Now, I'm going to tell you that whatever you ask for, you are going to get. Be sure you want it. And I'll tell you something very quickly about wanting something you're not ready for. I work for an oil company, Atlantic Richfield Oil Company. And I went to the same law school that Mr. Anthony went to. So I had a combination of skills. I'd been the regional chief of treasury, which meant I knew something about banking. Usually you can pretend to know something if you have a title. So I had the title, I could pretend I knew something about banking and finance, although I probably didn't know very much. So I wanted to be an international crude oil trader. I heard about some of the big boys and the kind of money they make, and man, that was for me. And again, through a set of fortuitous circumstances, a man came from Cameroon by the name of Jacques Mailly, and he was looking for someone to do business with, and people had heard about my efforts, and I got introduced to him. And together, we got the power of attorney for Hydrocam, the National Hydrocarbons Corporation in Yaoundé, Cameroon, and I got introduced to the Deputy Prime Minister of the Republic of Gabon, 2 oil-producing countries. And from there, my career took off. I was traveling everywhere, in London, meeting with the Arabs, meeting here, meeting there. And what I found out about it, there are more crooks out there than you can shake a stick at. And you can't trust any of them. Got a good lesson during that time. Well, at any rate, I started making money, a lot of money, very fast. I would make 2-3 cents on every barrel of crude oil, and we were loading off 100,000 metric tons off the coast of Africa. I went to Trinidad through some friends of mine, got introduced down there, and got a contract for 30,000 metric tons from Trentop, Trinidad, Tobago, an oil company. So, man, my life was just smoking, flying first class, stopping at the Hotel Meridian in Paris, meeting people like Sausanalian, the big arms dealer who armed Saddam Hussein, and I met Adnan Khashoggi, who was very big in the news with the Imelda Marco, just hanging with the big boys. But things started to happen to me that I didn't like. My attitude started getting a little nasty. I started to not want to be bothered with my old little friends. I had my big friends. And I'm saying to myself, it's like I'm looking at myself and saying, who is this guy? And what's he all about? I was on a conveyor belt. This can happen to you. And those of you who wound up in the NFL, as my young friend does, those of you who find yourself in a position you never thought you were going to be in, with the kind of money you've never handled before, it can affect you in ways you never thought it could. And the reason it infected me as opposed to affected me, is that I wasn't prepared for it. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that I couldn't handle all this money. I could buy anything I want, go anywhere I want, do anything. You don't need anybody. It can affect you in ways you never dreamed of. I wasn't sleeping. I was always on the telephone. In those days, we didn't have the fax machine. That was later invented by the Japanese. We had telex machines that clack, clack, clack. And I was getting telexes in from here and telexes in from there. And it was wearing me out. One time I stayed up 3 nights in a row. At the end of the third night, I said, laying on my bed, I said, dear God, please take this away from me. I'm not ready for it. I'm sorry I asked for it. I can't handle it. Within 2 days, 3 days, maybe a week, I got a call from my broker, Howard Wilson. And he said, Sam, are you doing business with Marion Corporation in Mobile, Alabama? I said, yes, they're one of my principal clients. They owe me a lot of money. He said, well, I guess you won't be collecting it because they just declared bankruptcy. Well, a medium-sized oil company. They owed Superior Oil $80 million and couldn't pay them, and Superior Oil forced them into involuntary bankruptcy. That day, I lost $5 million. When the repairman came to fix my dishwasher, he said, I would be laying in the hospital if I lost that kind of money. I said, listen, you have no idea how relieved I am to be out from under this. Be careful what you ask for, because you are going to get it. I'm going to stop now. I'm going to answer some questions from some of you young men. I know you have questions. I'll talk about those things I want to talk about. I'd rather talk about the things that you want to talk about. Now, the ground rules are you can ask me anything. It can be personal, it can be professional, and I will answer it. But I'll allow for 3 questions, because I assume what one person asks, other people are thinking. Does anybody have a question? Nathaniel, you and I have had some chats. Nathaniel's heard me before. He knows I'm long-winded. Is there anything that I could tell you? I have no secret. I have nothing to hide from you. I want to tell you this, then. If you're not going to ask a question, I'm going to tell you something. Gentlemen, AIDS is real. I think that God has guided me down this path. In 1968, at Valley Forge General Hospital, as a young captain, I believe that I met the first person who was infected with AIDS, Captain Richard Jackson. I went off from Valley Forge to the career course in Vietnam, got hit in Vietnam, came back to Valley Forge General Hospital a year later. This boy went from 190 pounds down to 80 pounds in the VA hospital. In those days, we didn't know anything about AIDS. Now, I'm not going to say how he contracted this. There are a lot of rumors about the government having infected, like the Tuskegee experiment with syphilis. But let me tell you this, gentlemen. If you filled Houston Astrodome with black people and you asked 2 out of every 5 to leave, the 3 that stayed would have HIV. You understand what I'm telling you? You are in for a horrendous future if you're not totally careful. And I'm going to tell you something else quickly. In 1950, there were 6 sexually transmitted diseases. Today, there are 26. There are diseases that you do not even hear about that can make your life more miserable than AIDS. In one high school, 60% of the young ladies have had a venereal disease. 60%, according to one of the instructors, told me this. We've got to get real with this. Be very careful with your manhood. It's all you have. When you leave this room, you make up in your mind that you're going to command the respect not of those people above you, not of those people beneath you, but the people who are right next to you. How your peers view you now will determine how they're going to treat you in the future. Some of you in here are going to be senior executives. You're going to be in a position to hire people or to recommend people. You've got all kinds of opportunities. There was a man that I knew in college. He was a basketball player, star basketball player. When I was at Atlantic Richfield Oil Company in New York on the 12th floor of the Corning Glass building, his resume came across my desk and I called him to come in. And when he came in, at first he was very professional and then he went back to our old college way. And I realized then that he was silly. He was silly back in college, he's still silly. So I didn't hire him. Sent him a letter saying, I'm sorry, the position has been filled. How you act now is going to determine what people think about you in the future. Be careful with yourself. Thank you very much. Yeah.
One question for you about this. I know there's some young entrepreneurs on the team. Do you have any advice for them how to get started as young men, high school men, like 7?
Good. That's a very good question. How to get started in being an entrepreneur? The first thing in anything, whether it's an entrepreneur or whether you want to be a doctor, doesn't matter what you want to do. The first place you've got to start is between your ears. Whatever it is you want to be that now. Don't wait until you get a PhD or don't wait until you... Be that now. What does that really mean? It means conducting yourself in a way that says, I am what I say I am. If you want to be a movie producer, start producing movies now. You say, well, I don't have a camera. If you always start out with what I don't have, you'll never have. What you have, and believe me, this is what everyone has. And what we don't realize, everyone has the same magic. I call it magic for want of a better word. How you operate. How do things become real? How did this building get up? We say, oh, they brought in some engineers, they got some plans, they got some builders, they got cement, and no. This building is simply a reflection of someone's internal image. What they thought became a reality. That's how everything in life becomes a reality. Now let me tell you quickly how you function. Every human being functions the same. That's why I don't pay attention to color. That's why I don't pay any attention to racism. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You cannot stop me. Not because I'm anybody or powerful. It's because I understand how things function, and you can't get between me and that understanding. How do they function? Your subconscious mind, which everyone has, is your connection to the universe. The universe has everything. Everything that you want. This podium became real, but it existed before it was wood. The only difference between me and this podium is our molecular makeup. Whatever you want in life is already given to you. You already have it. It may not have manifested itself, but because you don't yet know how to manifest it. Now, the reason you don't get what you ask for is because you keep changing your mind as to what you want. Decide what you're going to be and be that. Now, does that mean decide what you want to be in terms of being a lawyer or a doctor? No. Those are vehicles. Decide how you want to live your life. What kind of person do you want to be? How do you want people to view you? Decide what you want, how you want to live, what lifestyle. Now here's something else I want to tell you, and this is very, very important. Dream big. The reason most of us can't realize our dreams is because they're too small for anybody else to get into. One of the things my cousin up in Cincinnati told me, he said, listen, he said, you're going to need millions of dollars to roll out this. We developed an anti-AIDS product. I can tell you now, if I'd have known in 1995 how much heck I was going to catch in trying to get this product globalized, I'd have gone to do something else. We developed a product name called Genvive. I've talked to Ms. LeGrand about it. This is an anti-AIDS product, and this will block HIV. We've tested against some of the toughest viruses in the world. Who tested it? Not me. I can barely give you the components of water. So it's not up to me. But I did have the China Academy of Medicine on my side. And they helped develop this drug. And they helped, they did the testing, and they did the approvals. I'm catching a lot of devil from the people here, though. Blocking this product. Telephones tapped, and emails intercepted. A lot of problems. In court, that sort of thing. But you go through things. But getting back to you. You want to be an entrepreneur? Be one today. Not necessarily what business you want to go into. Decide what you want as an end result. You see, as black people, we're taught that money is evil. No, it's not. Try and do anything without it. Try and do anything without it. I've got a non-profit organization I started in 2005. We can't do anything without money. I can go in and tell them, look, we're an Africa AIDS Fund. They say, boy, that's great. We sure admire you. This will cost X number of dollars. That's the way life is. But make up in your mind what you want to be and start today. Don't worry about the mechanism. Don't worry about, well, now how do you form a corporation? Well, how do you divide the stock? What's the difference between Class A, Class B stock? What is subordinated debt? These are things you'll learn. One of the things I want to tell you about being anything is learn the vocabulary. If you can't speak the language, you're dead. You go in a meeting and sit down and they start talking about things that you don't know anything about and you haven't prepared yourself, you'll walk out of there without what you want. But if you can speak the language, even if you don't exactly know what it means, you're out in front. You can imagine how many meetings I sat through in China and did not speak one word of Chinese. But I sat there, I was attentive, I was polite, and I've gotten a long way in China, not because I came in with all the money, but I came in with the attitude. I never passed up a chance to show respect to the Chinese. When we came to the elevator, I let the Chinese go first. When it came to open the door, I opened thus and so. I made myself a good guest. The last thing I'll tell you is, you want to be an entrepreneur, develop the right attitude. Attitude is everything. You give me a straight A student with a bad attitude or a straight D student with a great attitude, I can do something with that straight D student. And you give me a straight A student with a great attitude, I can really do something. My point being, it is your attitude, how you reflect yourself. When you get up every morning, get up in a cheerful spirit. Say hello. Say thank you. Say please. Let these words come out of your mouth. I'll tell you a habit I've developed. Somebody can bump into me, and I'm the first one to say, excuse me. Always be the first one to say, excuse me. I never forget when I first was an Army officer, second lieutenant in the Army, and the question was, when two officers of the same rank meet, who salutes first? The answer was, the gentleman. Gentlemen, be a gentleman. It will carry you further than money. Sorry, I probably overdid the answer as usual.
Come up first, we have Ken Hudson, and next we have Stephen Bragg following him. But Mr. Ken Hudson is the first, not second, not third, but the first African-American NBA referee. He was the first one to start it all. And to you young men here today, you're getting a treat, something that allows me to ever get a chance to do is meet this special person here. He's also an accomplished author who has wrote several books, and he definitely has some great mentoring commentary to share with you guys. So without further ado, I would like to welcome NBA referee, Mr. Ken Hudson. Come up, please.
Well, I'm staying out here. First of all, good evening. Good evening. This one, I come back in my life, I won't be able to call. I come from a different perspective. So you mentioned about refereeing NBA, which was a nice gesture and all that, but I also served as a consultant to the Patriots. And I do a lot of speaking around the country, motivational stuff. dealing with high school youngsters and college youngsters, and I've spoken at the University of Texas, and tomorrow I'm doing a thing with CBS, this black kid from the projects of Pittsburgh. Because see, it was interesting, because I sat where you all were sitting one day. I sat right there, and I paid attention. But let me tell you something else. See, we gotta recycle our minds. You are student athletes. You represent Columbia High School. The adults here have taken the time to support you. So get in the habit of doing things on time. You play football, when the coach says, I want you to practice at 4 o'clock, you're there at 4 o'clock, or you run laps. So I played high school football, basketball, baseball. I was a halfway decent athlete. But also knew how to do things on time. So we were sitting here this evening with this banquet, and some of you come drifting in, and, oh, hey, you just left each other this afternoon. You knew this banquet was at 7 o'clock. And I understand that families have sometimes trouble and they need to adjust schedules. But when they do that, call people ahead and say, hey, I'm going to be late. Because people prepare things for you. They set things up. So you have to be responsible. You're responsible on the football field. And I hope like hell you're responsible in the classroom. See, because it doesn't make sense to be a halfway decent athlete and don't do your classroom work. See? Because one of the other things I do is I spent 25 years as the vice president of Coca-Cola Company traveling around the world. See? My job was to go to music events and all over the world, sporting events, develop contracts for entertainers. This kid from the projects in Pittsburgh. Before my parents passed, I told my mother before she passed away, had I known it was going to be this good, I'd behave better growing up. And my mother looked at me and said, you're lucky. Because there were a couple of times your father was considering justifiable homicide. And my reaction, I could have charged y'all with child abuse. She said, yeah, we dared you. Because they taught me something. Whatever it is you're going to do, do it right. And don't waste other people's time. Take that out of your mouth. Don't go through it. It's destroying you. You're an athlete. You represent Columbia High School. See, there's significance to that. Because when you come into the classroom, to the school, people say, oh, he plays on the football team. You represent Columbia High School. You represent your family. Understand that. Because a lot of people like to play on the Columbia High School football team. But they don't have enough talent. So they can't take your position. See? This event here is for you. Recognize what you've accomplished on the football field and the classroom. Another job I have right now is that I observe game sites for the NBA. There's a person in each city that goes to all the NBA games, and we sit there and observe, check how the players act, how they handle themselves, how they're dressed. Everything goes on time. If they don't go on time, they get fined. Players stand up for the national anthem, straight line, fully uniform, no gum chewing, no talking. If I write it down that they're doing something wrong, they get fined $5,000. They sit on the bench now. You have to have a sport coat, no sneakers, and no jeans. And if the jeans, dress jeans. Because the league said, you're going to act right if you're going to represent this league. Well, the same principle applies to Columbia High School. See, if the principal and the coach said, hey, I don't like your attitude because you're representing this school. See, this is about growing as a person and developing as a person, being respected as a person. See, just because you had scored 12 touchdowns and all that stuff, that don't mean you should walk around with your pants hanging down below your belt. See, understand that. I see young men all the time. Pull your pants up. I don't want to see your underwear. Understand that. People judge you by the way, two things, by the way you act and by the way you carry yourself. See, not only here, so I just talked to the rookies from the NBA before the season started. They invited me up to talk to them, and I've been knowing these guys since they were junior high school kids. And I tell them all the time, don't embarrass folks, don't embarrass yourself. Same thing. Because you only get one opportunity to make a first good impression. And the first time people see you, that's how they judge you. One other thing in closing. For those young men who are football, I'm a little concerned. I mean, that was a great video, but I ain't seen any historically black colleges up there. Understand that. See, this past weekend, I was supposed to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where I grew up. They usually have a dinner here. Black College All-American Football Weekend. It's one called Shared Broadcasting. What they do, they vote the top 22 black college football players in the country, bring them here, and the top black college team in the country the past season. The other thing that they do, they bring back former black college players who played in the NFL. And let me tell you, that is the most awesome team you ever going to see. See, I was always a firm believer. I had a chance, because I played baseball, and I was halfway decent. I had a scholarship offer to Pitt, Penn State, but I said, no, I want to go historically black college. Because I want to be able to deal with my own people. I want to see my folks in positions of leadership. And I know something, that if I go to a historically black college, it was Central State, Wilberforce, Ohio, I'm going to have professors that care about me. I know I'm going to play, because the coach is going to look out for me. Will talk to me. If I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, he's not going to say, come in and check with your advisor. He's going to walk over to me and grab me in the car and say, you better get your so-and-so in class. You didn't come here just to play sports. See, we have to think about things. We have to think about it. The gentleman just talked about being positive, thinking. See, I used the example earlier. Young man, what's the young man's name from Buford High School that got caught up in the rape place several years ago?
Yeah, Marcus Dixon.
Yeah, he was supposed to go to Vanderbilt somewhere. Well, he got caught up in that case, but he was able to get out. He ended up in Hampton and had a hell of a career. A hell of a career. Got a try with a team, didn't make it, but at least he had the opportunity. I mean, it's nice to go to Georgia and Michigan and all that, but you got to understand something. It looks glamorous. But when they sit there and tell you, say, well, yeah, we want you this year, next year they're telling the guy the same thing they told you. We want you to come here. Well, if you go to this black college, and I said earlier about the black college All-American team, the all-time team, they picked 22 guys. The cornerbacks were two people you might have heard of, Mel Blount and Lem Barney. Safeties were Donnie Shell and Everson Walls. Not bad, huh? The wide receivers, I'll give you one guess who one of them was. Jerry Rice. Right? The other one's John Stallworth. They could play with anybody. The linebackers, Willie Lanier, Harry Carson, and Robert Brazile. Historically black college All-Americans. Great NFL career. Willie Davis made a comment. Of the 22 people selected for an all-time team, and they caught hell because there were about 150 other guys that said, how come, what about me? I went to Southern, I went to Florida A&M. Hey, I thought I was pretty good. Right? Willie Davis said, who, by the way, got a master's degree from the University of Chicago and one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the country. He said 15 of the guys on the all-time team were all pro. Made all NFL. 12 of the guys are in the NFL. Or in the Hall of Fame. Football Hall of Fame. And the other thing he said in closing, not one of us received an offer from a predominantly white school. And we made him pay. Deacon Jones told the story. He said he went to training camp with the Rams, and they told him, go get the ball. You know, because he was free agent. Finally, they said they put him in the practice with the first-round draft choice. They said before it was over, they had to go call the police. Because Deacon Jones said, I whipped that white boy's butt every day. A historically black college guy. He got the education. Every one of those guys graduated. They didn't need any help. They went to class. Had a great social life. Let me tell you, I majored in elementary education at Central State because I walked by the building my freshman year and saw all these sisters sitting in this room. And I asked somebody, I said, what are they majoring in here? They said, elementary education. I did just like this. And 4 years later, I was still sitting there. And had the best 4 years I could ever dream of. Got my degree, See, I told people I was a pretty good baseball player. I told this story before. Until I ran into Jimmy Wynn and Toy Cannon. And after watching him play, I said, I better get my degree and learn how to play softball. And hope I can afford to buy a ticket to go to a baseball game. But guess what? What happened? I ended up moving to Boston, met the great Bill Russell, read our back, got into refereeing. Coca-Cola Company allowed me to have a job where I could almost write my own ticket. I just spoke last year at the football banquet, and I got up and said, you know, I've been to more Super Bowls than anybody in this room, and haven't played a game. Because that was my job. But my job was based on how I prepared myself. And when I received the opportunity, I made sure I reached back and brought other people. Because none of us are successful on our own. Whether it's on the football field, the classroom, or in church. And I love my church. I'm a member of Cascade United Methodist Church. In case y'all don't know it. And I'm there 2 or 3 times a week. You know, just to show up, because I feel better when I leave there. But that's all part of growing. But as in closing, I just want to say something. You have proven what hard work can do. And there's a price to pay for hard work. You just can't take things for granted. As I said, the other part about this, and I just spoke at the penitentiary over there off of McDonough. And I also spoke at a youth offenders place. Now listen to the young men say to me, so I asked him, I said, why are you here? Well, I robbed somebody, I got this. I said, how much did you get? And he said, oh, no. Not when you got caught. The time you got away with it. $50. I said, you here for 10 years for $50? $50. And you know what's sad? 1 or 2 of you in here hang out with the wrong people. You know, you have friends. We all have friends. Don't think I'm just calling you out. I have friends. I went to school with guys, high school. Oh, 6 months after we got out of high school, they went to jail. Haven't got out since. Because they thought they could get over on people. See? And let me tell you, when you do something wrong, and I'll close with this. Any time you do something wrong, whether it's at home or in the street, you get caught. And you pay a price. Because you ain't that smart. That's why the jails are so filled up with people. And the same thing in the classroom. When you don't do your assignment, when the teacher asks you, did you do your homework? Oh, Or when you go home and mom or grandma or somebody say, hey, I need to straighten up the furniture or clean the yard. Oh, I'll get around to it. That's not the way it works. Because none of you got jobs in here. Decent job. So that means everything you got on your back. Somebody has given it to you. That nice jacket, unless you got a full-time job, somebody thinks enough of you to give you that. And you earned it. Think about it. So when you go home this evening, because this is like the first day of your life. What happened yesterday is history. We don't know about tomorrow. So when you get up in the morning, go to school, go to Columbia High School, you need to say to yourself, when you get up in the morning, look at the mirror and say, the me I see is the me I'll be. If it is to be, it's up to me. Thank you. Yeah.
I'd like to bring up a person now who has definitely seen the world because he's playing in Canada. So he can definitely tell you about it, Mr. Stevie Baggs.
One other thing before Stephen speaks. For those of you who are seniors and you're going to visit schools, do me a favor, include a historically black college in that visit. Because it helps you and it helps the school. And most of you know Derek Favors. He and I were talking one day, and I said to him, he was trying to decide where to go to school. I said, do me a favor, if you can, play for a black coach. Play for a black coach. Whether it's at Georgia Tech, ended up at Georgia Tech. But play for a black coach. Because we made those other guys millionaires. See, so it's time for us to look out for each other. No disrespect to my Caucasian friend. See that? Alarm came on when I said that.
Oh, man. Well, I'm truly humbled to be and happy and blessed and fortunate to be here. I kind of take, I guess, an in-between stance between Mr. Hudson and Mr. Evans. I went to a historically black college, graduated with an international business degree. I went to Bethune-Cookman. I was a 3-time All-American. I still hold an NCAA record for tackles for loss, and I'm second in the world ever for sacks in NCAA history. But because I went to an HBCU, I didn't get drafted high because they didn't respect our level of competition. But what he was saying is true. The best players to ever play football came from the HBCU. He called Jerry Rice, Walter Payton, L.C. Greenwood. I just left Pittsburgh myself because I won Black College Player of the Year. So I spoke to young men like you. I'm a part of the 100% Wrong Club, as Mr. Anthony told you guys earlier, which does the exact same thing. So that's awesome. And I'm glad he shared that with you guys because you know what? If you have the ability, they'll find you, no matter where you're at. Okay? And it's so sad because I grew up in an all-black environment, all-black high school, similar to Columbia. But then when my parents got a divorce, I ended up going to a predominantly white high school in Orlando. I'm from South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Pompano Beach. I went to Ely High School. Ely High School, probably right now, we have 6, 7 guys playing professional football. Bethune-Cookman, guess what? Had 6 guys playing pro football. Some of them you probably heard of. Rasheem Mathis from Jaguars. Nick Collins from the Green Bay Packers. You know, we have Eric Weems right here in Atlanta. Plays for the Falcons, receiver. So, like I said, you can make it wherever. With that being said, though, I have some statistics to throw out to you guys. Okay? There's over 3 million high school football players, just like y'all in the world. Okay? There's 300,000 NCAA players, and guess what? Between the CFL and the NFL, there's 2,352 positions. Okay? So you can be whatever you want to be. Have great goals. Write them down. Accomplish them. Achieve them. Shoot for them. But guess what? The reality of you guys being pro football players and athletes and entertainers like these illusions on cribs that y'all see in TV, the reality of it is probably if one of you guys makes it out of here to the NFL, great. But the reality is that you're not. So you need to set your lives up for that because guess what? When you think you're that good, guess what? It's somebody, if the best person right here in this room, the best person right here, you could probably go somewhere else and you probably won't even start. So don't worry about being the best. You need to work on being the greatest. Okay? Because the greatness follows itself for a lifetime. I'm going to get on some priorities that y'all need to follow. Okay? The priorities that you need to follow. Well, hold up. First of all, I tell you, I played 2 years in the NFL with Detroit Lions and Jacksonville Jaguars. I played the last 3 seasons in the CFL. Okay? And I'm going back after my contract this year. I'm going back to the NFL. But that doesn't determine my success. My success is determined by how many of you guys I can empower. And knowledge is not knowledge unless you can give it to somebody else. Remember that. So when you guys get in a position, because you will be in a position like these 2 gentlemen just said, to help someone else and empower somebody else, y'all do that. When you have people like these men up here trying to converse to you guys about life, y'all talking on the text and texting on the cell phone and got headphones on, man, come on, dude. This guy's a legend, icon, man. The first black NBA referee ever, and y'all, he's in here, man. Are you serious? I'm in awe. And I done met him 3, 4 times in my life. I'm in awe. This man right here has seen millions and millions of dollars. Something that people in this world would never even, can't even think of. Okay, I'm in awe. Yeah, I play pro football. I got a Range Rover, a house, who cares? You can't take none of that with you. The only thing you can take with you is your character and your ethics. Keep that with y'all. Now, I'm going to tell you guys some quotes. Write this stuff down. Write it down if you can. All right, priorities in life. The Lord, your spirituality. You keep hearing it. It's the only key to success, bro. He said it, and Mr. Hudson and Mr. Evans, they both said it. Mr. Sanderson will tell you, your coach will tell you, Mr. Anthony will tell you, it's the only key to success. The Lord. Okay? Bible. Basic information before leaving earth. Don't be afraid of the Bible, man. The Bible is not a book of rules. It's a seed for healing. It's a seed for wealth. It's a seed for relationships. Don't think of it as rules, okay? But just remember this. The things you spend the most time doing is the things that you would desire. So if you spend the most time sexing, you're going to desire it. And it ain't funny. Because the man just told you about AIDS. I just got my AIDS test. Yes, I just got my results today. And I'm super negative. I'm super pessimistic. Straight up. And the thing y'all need to understand is that gives you empowerment when you know that. But the way you don't know it is if you risk it. If you spend the most time training and getting right, you're going to be bad on the football field. If you spend the most time in the classroom studying, you're going to have straight A's. No coach or teammate wants to be around somebody that's ignorant. I want to have a smart teammate, because when I'm out there trying to sack a quarterback, I want to make sure my defensive lineman and my defensive back know their plays, so I can get to the quarterback. That's what I do. So you guys, the things you spend the most time doing, that's what you're going to desire. Remember that. So I'm going to say a few quotes, and I want y'all to finish them for me. And I'm going to see how much of that word you got in you. I can do all things through. Okay, say it. Don't be scared. He strengthens you. I am more than a conqueror. Okay. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Okay. The Lord said in his word that he would never leave you nor forsake you. See, you got it in you. The word is in y'all. So you have to make sure that you use it. Testimony. Like our testimonies right now. God turns your adversity into an advantage. And just remember, temptation, man, is only an offer. You know how many times I went to a party, seen drugs here on the table, X, weed, powder, coke, whatever you want to see, drink. But if I follow them, how could I be here to tell you guys not to do it? Temptation is only an offer. You don't have to do it. But obedience gives birth to the blessings. And blessings give birth to successful results. That's what allows us to be here talking to you right now. 5 things that negative people hate and non-leaders hate this. When you take action to protect yourself. When you fortify yourself. Fortifying yourself is basically protecting yourself against an attack of the enemy. That's to fortify yourself, to protect yourself by any means necessary from the standpoint of spiritual warfare. Okay? Negative people and non-leaders hate when you sacrifice. It takes a lot to be a champion, baby. It takes a lot to be a leader. Trust me, I know it. I was a captain on every team I ever played on. It takes a lot. It takes sacrifice. Because like this man said, your peers got to respect your mind. Okay? Your peers have got to respect your mind. I'm a football player just like y'all, baby. I still do it. I strap up. I just got their training. I just told them. I'm sore right now. Guess why? Because I sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? You got to sacrifice, fellas. All right? You know what non-leaders hate? When you finish the work. They hate when you finish the work. When you finishing the work right now, because y'all about to get an award. So you finished the work this season. You did your due diligence this season. Non-leaders hate when you turn things around. Dang, he used to have bad grades, now this dude on the honor roll. Dang, this dude, he only had 5 sacks last year, now he got 10. Wow. My man said he had 5 sacks. He told me he was fast. He said he played ping pong by himself. I was like, what? You off the chain. Play ping pong by himself. That's hot. To win. Oh, y'all just got it. To win. It's an acronym. Acronyms, if you have a word, acronyms are the meanings behind this word. The letters are the meanings behind the word. Win. What's important now? And that's what's important right now, for y'all to win. Not in just football, because being an athlete or entertainer is not the only means to success, as you guys have seen right now. Those 2 men are not athletes or entertainers, but they're as successful as they come, and they look just like you. I'm an athlete or entertainer, but guess what? That's not my only means to success. This is my means to success, talking to y'all. Okay, and I'm going to leave y'all with this. When God rubs his super on your natural, it gives you supernatural ability to do the things you couldn't do before he put his ability on your ability. All right, I'm going to say it one more time. When God rubs his super on your natural, it gives you supernatural ability to do the things you couldn't do before he put his ability on your ability. Okay? And blessings are not cars, houses, spouses, and clothes, and phones. Those aren't blessings. Those are results of your blessing. But your blessings are y'all gift. And every last one of y'all in here has a gift. So make sure you hone in on that, capitalize on it, and use it. Thank you. Yeah! Banquet, we're about to give out
out some well-deserved recognition to some guys on the defensive side of the ball. So this will be the defensive awards and presentation by Coach Lake.
Coach Ross, come up, help me. Coach, if you have the awards. Okay, no, thank you.
My wife told me I better be home by Take care. Take care.
Run through these pretty quickly, running short on time. First, I'm presenting Defensive Lineman of the Year. This kid right here, 8 sacks, 46 tackles, 3 block punts, interception, young boy. Got him coming back next year. Already got scouts calling about him. Defensive Lineman of the Year, DeMarcus Sherrod. Defensive Back of the Year, still working on them with the scholarships in hand. Got about 4 or 5 schools interested in them. 7 interceptions, 36 tackles. Got a few breakups. Defensive Back of the Year, Gerard Houston. Next award, Hitman Award. Although he has to tighten up on his technique, made some outstanding hits this year. Leading tackler on the team, 86 tackles. I think 2 interceptions, a few block punts. Work on his technique a little bit more. He could be something special. Maybe he'll be sitting at the table next year signing a scholarship. Andre Walker. Spirit Award. This guy's a natural born leader. I've been knowing him since he was at Park Ball. When I used to tease him, ask him if he was going to get in the game, but he was a natural star since about 9 or 10 years old. Second leading tackle. I mean, he played all positions, came over, he just wanted to play running back, and I told him, hey man, we need you at other positions. Do whatever it takes for the team. No questions, no problem. David Ray. Defensive Player of the Year. Man, can't say enough about this kid, man. This kid is a coach on the field, great personality, great student, great athlete. I just can't put enough adjectives with him. Defensive Player of the Year, DeMario Gibbs. Although we got something for him next season.
Moving on to the offensive awards, we'll start with special teams. Special teams Player of the Year. This guy he kick it and be the first one down there. Big hitter, young guy, very, very bright future. Going to be a great player no matter if he play quarterback. He can do everything. He could have got a lot of awards tonight. He could have been in the running for offensive back. Great player, great young player. We look forward to watching the future. Kid on going.
That's the one coach who played ping pong by himself.
Offensive lineman of the year. Very seldom do you have a guy who will tell you just flat out, Coach, I just love to block. That's every coach's dream. This young man came to us this year. I think he's probably the most heavily recruited athlete I've ever coached. I know he's got a couple big offers that have already come in. Yeah, Florida State is ready to offer him already. Tank, we wish you well. I know you're going to be a great, great player. I hope you have a great senior season. Offensive lineman of the year, Darnelius Tank Sessions. Offensive back of the year. Offensive back of the year. Well, this one could have gone several different ways. So we got a lot of guys who can run the ball. Y'all know I love to run the ball. But getting right to it, he does it all. Great player on both sides of the ball. I'm going to miss you. Brian Holloway. So I'm just going to get this out, so I don't get choked up. But this is one of an outstanding young man who I'm going to really, really miss. Our offensive player of the year, I'm going to get right to it, Willie Favors. Got a couple of awards here. Here's an award presented by Coca-Cola, the Golden Helmet Award for Outstanding Accomplishment in Academic and Athletic Performance. This is presented to Nathaniel Anthony. Come on up there. Outstanding student athlete will be attending Georgia State University playing for Coach Curry. So congratulations. I guess everybody got bets on who's going to win what, but our most valuable player of the year, also 1,400 plus yards rushing. Been a great player since 9th grade. I should have started you when you were in the 9th. I shouldn't have waited. But outstanding young man, great player. You've been a pleasure, Coach. Nick, come on up and get your award. Got a couple of other special award presentations also for you varsity players. I have your letters, you multi-sport, multi-year guys. I have your letters as well. Most of you guys here are varsity players, so make sure you pick those up. You JV guys, your turn's coming. Keep hanging in, keep working hard. I see a lot of you guys downstairs in the weight room. I'll be there to support you. Anything you need from me, you know where to find me.
A lot of y'all we don't see in the weight room.
Okay, Ms. Butler, come on.
Oh, I'll get it.
Okay.
Where's the team captains at? Nathaniel, Sheets,
Long coat.
Coach, we have one special award here we're going to give out. As we know, Coach Latham is not going to be with us next year, but we the seniors. They would like to present Coach Latham with an award here of appreciation for his time and effort as head coach with Columbia High School over the years. A lot of time that required as a head coach. Some of you probably don't know, but he would stay up all night, 7 days a week, coaching. So these seniors would like to present Coach Latham with this award here of appreciation for the time and efforts that he spent over the years. We have another. Hey, where y'all going? Come on back up here. You want we got one more special award. This one here is going to somebody we all know very well. Coach Rock. Where is that?
And let me say something before he gives it to him. Look, listen, I really could not. I couldn't have done it without Coach Rock. I mean, literally, I could call him for anything. He's done so much for us. You don't know what he's done for Columbia High School. I mean, really. You know, like he handled the majority. Coach Rock would always say, Latham, hey, look, I'm just going to make the call. All I need you to do is close the deal. And we did that together, and we worked, and we were able to get a lot of kids in school. You seniors that are still working, believe me, we're still working. we're still working. And Coach, I appreciate you, man, from the bottom of my heart for everything you've done, man. Really.
We got four awards. A lot of the things that are done during the games, you guys might be aware of. Feeding you all dinners every Friday before a game, getting everything in line. A lot of things that are necessary to put on a game and to carry a football team throughout the year. It requires a lot of work. And I would like to just present an award to a couple people here that are even helping tonight. Miss Latrice Butler. Tricia. Vanessa
No, you got to go.
Whenever you need somebody to do something, they're always there.
Yeah.
Count on you, rely on to help you out. Thank you, Mr. Moore. And also, I don't think they're here tonight, but all you guys are aware of two individuals that always are there to help make the Gatorade and get ice and do all kinds of stuff that we need to have done before a game. Those two trainers, special trainers we have.
Yeah.
We're going to present this to them tomorrow at school. Park is in the morning. Two special trainers we have tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Radio.
They best friends.
They out here, bro.
Hey.
That'll do it for our award.
All right, last but not least, we're coming towards the end of the program, and we're going to have closing remarks by Principal Douglas Samuels.
Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, the wealth of wisdom and knowledge amazes me. And I've been around athletics all my life, like most of you coaches have. And just to hear from the gentlemen, it amazes me, and I'm overwhelmed. You were blessed tonight with the richness of experience. Have the first black referee in the NBA. Have a gentleman here who only shared with you a pinhead of his experiences and his knowledge. There's a lot of money in the room. And we all talk about being great and doing great things. They couldn't have assembled tonight 2 or 3 gentlemen who were better equipped to tell you about life and prepare you to dream the impossible dream. If you want to be a baller, if you want to be a shot caller, there's 2 things that come with that. Number 1 is a great blessing, and you'll smile and you'll have means to do a lot of things. And on the other hand, there's a great amount of responsibility. You have a lot of sleepless nights, you have a lot of things that weigh on your mind. Because trust me when I tell you, and they can attest to this, to whom much is given, much is required. So if you want to be great, if you want to be a star, then you have to act like one. There are a lot of folks who are very famous, have a lot of responsibility, and a lot of money, who don't act like much these days. And then again, there are individuals who do, and you heard from 3 of those young men tonight. Take home with you the wisdom, knowledge that they share with you, and I guarantee you it will enrich your life. Thank you, Coach Latham, for your years of dedicated service. To all the parents and the mothers, to Mr. LeGrand Anthony, who let us have your children for a short amount of time. I want to say thank you for sending us great kids. We hope to do great things at Columbia High School, $22 million renovation, still ongoing, brand new fine arts building, and a lot of wonderful things that are happening. Columbia is a great place to be. And we're going to do some great things, and we're going to make you proud. We're going to continue to do that. If you stay with us, you'll see the great things that we can do. Thank you very much for coming out.
to be? How do I want to be remembered? My life